He didn't roar, didn't point to his name, didn't chase the crowd. John Wark just arrived. No drama, no demands, just the goal. Then the jog back. He came from midfield, scored like a striker, left without a sound. 36 goals, 1 season. UEFA Cup, FA Cup, league titles, World Cup goals. But he never screamed for memory. Never built a brand, never played for show. No interviews asking for credit, no gestures, no fuss. Just the kind of record that echoes louder than most noise. And if the game has forgotten that, we haven't. Subscribe because some legends never shouted. They just did it all and left the proof behind. John Wark was born on August 4th, 1957 in Glasgow, Scotland. A city of steel, shipyards and silence. No stars, no shortcuts, just hard streets and harder expectations. He wasn't built for noise. He was built to last. As a boy, he moved south, and by 16, he was sweeping floors at Ipswich Town, an apprentice, a ghost in the corridors, one of many. He didn't stand out in training, didn't show off, but the ball stuck to him and so did the timing. In 1975, Bobby Robson gave him his debut. Centre-back, number 5. No headlines, no nerves. Just a calm teenager who looked like he'd been there forever. But something kept happening. Every time Ipswich went forward, Wark drifted with them, into space, into danger, into places defenders don't belong. He wasn't meant to score, but he couldn't help it. And Robson, a man who never missed a detail, moved him forward, into midfield, into instinct, into history. By 1977, he was no longer a kid in the background. He was in the team, every week. No noise, no questions, just certainty. He didn't glide like a winger, didn't bark like a captain, but he showed up where it mattered, and he did it every single time. In the 1977-78 season, Ipswich were chasing something bigger. Wark was no longer a defender. He was the ghost in midfield that no one tracked until it was too late. Tackled like a shadow, sudden, clean, gone. In the FA Cup semi-final against West Brom, he scored the goal that sent them to Wembley. It wasn't beautiful, it was perfect. Late run, low finish, no celebration, just the jog back. Standard. The final. Ipswich versus Arsenal. One of the biggest clubs in the country. But Wark didn't blink. He didn't score that day, but he ran the pitch like he owned it, cut passing lanes, broke attacks, controlled the rhythm of the biggest game in the club's history. Ipswich won 1-0, their first ever FA Cup. And Wark? He just walked up the steps, took his medal, and walked back down. No headline, no parade, just proof. The season was 1980-81, and John Wark didn't just have a good year, he had one of the greatest seasons English football has ever seen, and almost no one talks about it. 36 goals, from midfield, no penalties, no tricks, just timing, instinct, and silence. 14 of those goals came in Europe against Aris, Bohemians, Widzew Łódź, Saint-Etienne, and Keln. Every round, every stage. Ipswich reached the UEFA Cup final against AZ Alkmaar. Wark scored in both legs, because of course he did. They won 5-4 on aggregate. He lifted the trophy and finished as the UEFA Cup's top scorer. Not a striker, not a star, a Scottish midfielder. Top scorer in Europe. He was also named PFA Player of the Year runner-up and won the Bravo Award Best Under-23 player in European football. No big interviews, no TV ads, just silence and the numbers left behind. That season should have made him a household name. Instead, it made him something rarer. A ghost with receipts, still haunting the record books, still too quiet to market, still too good to ignore. In 1982, John Wark went to the World Cup. Spain. Heat, pressure, the biggest stage the game could offer, and just like always, he didn't flinch. He wasn't expected to start, but Scotland needed calm, and they turned to him. 3 matches, 2 goals, both with the same cold precision he'd shown all year in Europe. He scored twice, first against New Zealand, then the Soviet Union, even as Scotland fell short. And for a moment, it looked like he'd done enough. But it ended in heartbreak. A draw wasn't enough. Scotland were out. No glory, no banners. Just Wark walking off the world's biggest pitch, having done his job. He finished the tournament with 2 goals in 3 games. A better strike rate than most forwards. He earned 29 caps for Scotland, scored 7 goals. Started at a World Cup. Scored at a World Cup. But was never treated like a star. Because Wark didn't ask for attention. He asked for space. And made more of it than anyone saw coming. Even on football's biggest stage, he was easy to overlook and impossible to replace. In March 1984, Liverpool made their move. Champions, ruthless. A club where only greatness survived. Wark didn't posture, didn't hesitate. He pulled on the Liverpool shirt and scored on his debut. Just like that. He joined during the final stretch and walked straight into a team chasing everything. By season's end, he'd helped them win the First Division, the League Cup, and the Charity Shield. He didn't just blend in, he produced. In 1984-85, he became Liverpool's top scorer, 27 goals in all competitions. From midfield, hat-tricks in the league, the FA Cup, and the European Cup. No penalties, no gimmicks, just a midfielder who refused to miss. John Milby said it best. Probably the greatest goal-scoring midfielder there's ever been, but too humble to sell it. He didn't chase cameras, didn't talk about legacy. He showed up, scored, and walked back to the halfway line. At Anfield, among giants, Wark didn't try to be the loudest. He just kept being the one they could never do without. Some players move on and don't look back. John Wark wasn't one of them. After Liverpool, he didn't search for comfort or attention. He went back to where he started, Portman Road. No parade, no promises. Just a quiet return to the work. Before returning to Ipswich, he spent 1 season at Middlesbrough, 32 games, 2 goals, a final detour before destiny called him back. Injury cut his Anfield chapter short, and Ipswich was always waiting. In 1988, he rejoined Ipswich. Still sharp, still selfless. 2 more years, goals, presence, calm, then he left. Briefly. But in 1991, at age 34, he came back again. 3rd spell, same badge, still dangerous, still needed. Ipswich were chasing promotion. Wark didn't talk. He delivered. That season, they won the 2nd Division title and returned to the top flight. He stayed through it all. Played until 1996. Nearly 39 years old when he retired. 679 appearances. 179 goals. 2nd highest scorer in club history. From midfield. In 2008, Ipswich inducted him into their Hall of Fame, the quietest name on the wall. 4-time Player of the Year, 3 spells, 1 heartbeat. He didn't return for applause. He returned because he still could. Because some men don't wear loyalty, they live it. John Wark didn't shout in the tunnel, didn't demand the armband. But if you asked anyone who played with him, they trusted him first. One of them was Paul Mariner. They came through Ipswich together, won together, grew together. They shared rooms, shared jokes, shared something deeper than football. Not teammates, brothers. In 2021, when Mariner passed away, Wark's voice cracked on camera. He was my best mate. He called me his brother. He never cried in a final, never raised his arms after a goal. But for Paul, he broke. Because behind the stillness, there was steel. And behind the steel, there was heart. He played under Bobby Robson. With Alan Brazil, Eric Gates, Terry Butcher. Different teams, different eras. But always Wark. Always steady. Always ready. Bobby Robson once called him Johnny on the spot, the man who arrived just when you needed him. He didn't leave when others did. Didn't change when others moved on. He stayed. He returned. He carried the weight. Not because he had to, because that's who he was. John Wark never asked to be remembered. And that's exactly why he should be. He didn't sell boots, didn't chase cameras, didn't build a brand. He built a record. He played as a centre-back, then as a midfielder, then as a striker when they needed him at Ipswich. And in every role he delivered. 179 goals for Ipswich, 27 goals in 1 season for Liverpool, 2 goals at a World Cup, trophies at every level. He played as a centre-back, then a midfielder, then a striker when they had no one else. And in every role he gave them something they couldn't replace. That same year, Ipswich gave him a testimonial, a rare roar for a man who never asked for one. He didn't leave with fireworks, he left with numbers. The kind you have to dig up now because no one put them in lights when they mattered. But they're still there, still whispering something most players never get to say. I did everything. And I didn't need to shout. Some players win trophies. John Wark became the heartbeat of a town. And if that matters to you, hit subscribe. Because memory fades, but legends like John, they echo forever.